Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 39 of Unfiltered Race Fans Only podcast. Just me and Blake tonight. We're going to give our pretty much immediate reaction to the first race of the round of 8 here. Denny Hamlin notches 60. Larson comes up close. Hell of a wreck for Byron. So let's start with the overall racing quality. I thought the racing overall was, pretty good because they could get, around not as much as Kansas, but the multi-lane seemed to provide good racing with this tire. What'd you think, Blake?
I agree, but at the same time, I kind of wonder there was only one car that was really using the high lane, Reddick, but he didn't use it
Yeah.
for very long each time. And Denny ultimately used it to win the race, but
Mhm.
as it comes to long runs, the high lane isn't there anymore. And with the news, which I'm sure you were going to bring it up later, but with the news of next year going to 750 horsepower under 1 mile and a half tracks, you kind of wonder if that would help get the higher line moving. I mean, even at Kansas, it wasn't moving. So you kind of wonder if, the teams have figured out so much that the high line is just gone, or is that a Tiger thing?
Well, I was gonna say I'm wondering
Um,
how much of it's a tire thing. We saw tires definitely mattered. Where you pitted and came out mattered in terms of
clean,
how
clean air
faster
rules.
speed and clean air still rules because you saw that at the end with Chase Briscoe on 2 tires, Logano on 2 tires. They held some people up, held some people up. With Briscoe more so, he was able to. Larson had the run to beat him. Hold on. Let's pause a moment for make prime primary. It's important. Uh, so,
They prime
but yeah,
primary.
make prime primary for next year. Come on, let's fix this TV programming. But Briscoe shut off that air to Larson, which then brought Hamlin back to him. I mean, Hamlin was coming, but it definitely brought him back to him faster in those final 6 laps. And then when Hamlin got that outside run, he just took off like a rocket. And then
And you wonder why Larson didn't try the same damn lane. He kept on to lay lane lower, and it's like, dude, try it. You're the
yeah,
king of high lane. What are you doing?
yeah, he kept running the middle and the low lane, and I was surprised by that because he's usually, like you said, he's one that paints the boards. So that was a surprise, but um, we'll get to the end of the race shortly. So the first 2 stages, pretty ho hum overall.
With the exception of Ryan Blaney blowing a
Yep,
tire
with
and
the exception of
destroying
Blaney.
his playoffs.
Yeah, he cratered his points cushion he had. Um, Byron decided to join him back there a little bit, but still, thankfully, because of his points, acquired through stages, he's not completely out of it. But 15 in the hole with 2 to go is, you're not in a must win, but
Yeah, but look at your
one,
competition.
yeah,
15 is a lot with
15 is a lot when you're going to
you
Talladega.
got you're is it 35 behind Larson? And you're you're 15 behind Bell and you're fit what is the other guy? Briscoe?
Right. So
So these all
Byron
those
was,
drivers are running great. So that's
yep.
not
So,
an easy point deficit to overcome.
well, we came into the weekend. Hamlin was +8, Blaney +6, Larson +4, tied with William +4. Elliott 14 below, Briscoe 14 below, Logano 24 below, and Bell 4 below. So where they exit, though, Denny locks in. Larson gains a nice healthy cushion, which is good. He needs that with his plate luck. Like he
He
started to do
went from
better, but
plus
you just never
four
plus.
to
He's
now he's
yeah
plus
came in plus
35.
yeah, so he gained 31 points. Bell +20. He was barely in. Briscoe below the line, so he flipped 30 points almost. He was
Mhm.
14 below. He's 15 to the good. Byron fell by 11. Chase fell back. Logano and Blaney's obviously the biggest loser in that deal, big time. And Logano's pretty much right where he started. So this was his mulligan, if you will. But with the 2 next tracks coming up that typically favor Penske or Ford Power, and then Penske setups, I wouldn't rule him out yet. toward the end of the race, I honestly thought, oh, here goes Logano stealing a win when he was lining up there with
Oh,
Briscoe.
I did too.
I was
Too
like,
tired to
here
hold
we
that thing.
go. So, but so the action really started after that, and when we got to the third stage. So we get to those final 100 laps or so. They're racing really hard. They cycle through pit stops. Byron gets ahead of Larson, and I was waiting to see like how they were gonna race each other because we rewind back to earlier in the season with all the feedback from Larson about being told I need to be a better teammate and everything. And we've seen it's been nothing but take from his teammates and no give. So with Larson having the faster car most of the day, even though Byron, start up should have been the faster car based off of practice speeds. He had the fastest averages in every segment. So they did something to not keep up with the car as well as what the five team
Well, Larson's car was a longer run car. Byron built loose as the run went. And I think what you saw there is that Larson's team actually made not an adjustment just on the right side, but the left side too.
did. Yeah.
They took a put a round in the right rear and took a round out of the left rear. So I don't know what that does on this car. I know what it did on the old car, but I'm not sure what it does on this car. But
Yeah. The rear
that's
tracking.
why Byron got around him was because of two adjustments and plus the crappy the way he parked in the stall was terrible.
Yeah.
You know, he had been having 9.1 stops all day and it was like a 10.5. So there's where you lost your ground, So um but he was gaining on him until Byron got loose and then went right around him. But you can tell Byron didn't make any adjustments and their car had been getting loose on a long run all day. So
Yeah. Let's see here. So I'm just grabbing some stuff. So yeah, um, they, Larson passes him back. That's good. He makes that pass. He was running him down, like you said, but the way his car snapped loose on him definitely made that pass easier for Larson to make on Byron. And then I had looked away. They didn't show the initial wreck. They showed that, and they were going over the reviews. And within a couple laps later, we get our first, major setup for the end of the race. We have this massive wreck. Immediately reminded me of back in Charlotte, was I think it was a 600 when Mark Martin came out and the car was slow to the pits and he had just put on tires and was hauling and had to avoid him and went straight into the wall. It was like that kind of like no warning, just this massive hit.
it was very violent. If you saw on
Yeah,
TV when the AMR safety crew got to him, his net wasn't down yet.
yeah, that was a big hit. Um, So we'll get into who's at fault there in a minute, but that re-racks them. We got a lot of cleanup, several laps of caution. We get a restart, and Larson's the first car on four tires. Looks like he should be good. And I don't know if he just didn't get a good restart or if he was trying to time it a different way because of Joey being on two and Briscoe being on two. But that didn't last even a full lap because here comes his teammate Bowman shoving him three wide right down the middle, and then Bell and Ty have like the same idea, meet in the middle, hook. Ty ends up, colliding, and then we have another big wreck, which
Hmm.
is going to set us up for our final restart there. Uh, you know, so we re-rack them again, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is how Logano's gonna get to Phoenix ahead of time of everybody else. He's lined up front. I mean, you can't I didn't know if they were going to have the speed to do it, but Big Ball Paul once again making the call to give themselves an opportunity. So, and we know they'll be fast next week because the Fords are fast at the speedway races. So, uh, they get going. Joey pretty much is just a rolling chicane at that point. Briscoe, strongly gets out there and hold everybody up. But I don't know if you saw this, but this is just, from my perspective. So as Larson starts to run down Briscoe, you know, that him and Hamlin are jockeying for position. But before Briscoe's, before Hamlin gets to Larson with his speed, as Larson starts to come up to pass him, Briscoe air block shuts off his air. So Larson has to fall back to the clutches of Hamlin. Hamlin gets that run on the outside. When Hamlin gets past Larson and gets to Briscoe, Briscoe doesn't even attempt to block him.
Nope.
He lets him have the outside and blow past him.
Yeah.
So that bothered me a little bit, that it was basically like, well, I'd rather finish second to my teammate than allow Chevy to win. I mean, that's smart racing, but he didn't even make it look like he was trying to race him. He just gave him the position.
Yeah. And then what
So,
was it? 2 laps later, Larson got by him with
yeah, because
ease.
as soon as he got by him, then the next thing you know, Larson had no problem passing him at that point because
Yeah.
it was over. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, that Briscoe races like that. But then again, he races like every other jackass at JGR, so he's definitely read the manual. Uh, and
He's read the manual for sure.
so
I
um,
I'm still don't understand why Larson didn't run the high line like Denny was. Like, why don't you block off where Denny is going? Like, you are the king of the high line, and you
yeah, he
just
didn't shut the door like I expected him when Denny came to that outside line. He let him have it,
he
which he
he
still
didn't run the
retained the
high line all
position.
day.
Yeah, but he had retained this position on that challenge. But then the next one, you know, Denny smartly bided his time. He still knowing there was time left, made the pass, ultimately went up there, ran him down. He made that hell of a closing lap that got him the lead, and then he was just gone. Uh, so, overall, not a very dramatic race for the first 2/3, other than Blaney obviously dug himself a hole with a wreck, and then Byron. So the other big issue, let's talk about with, because we're both friends with Kevin and some other guys. So what I saw, and again, they put it in Byron's in car, and you see him coming. Byron never tries to slow up till the last second. I don't know what he was. So that even if the spotter says nothing to you, everything else, you can see that your closing rate is like astronomical. He never even attempted to move out of the way. I don't know what he was thinking. He's like, I'm gonna be clear, Harry. Like, I don't know what the hell he was watching. So
Uh,
I was telling him, like Byron's got a gas pedal, a brake, and a steering wheel. I don't know why he didn't move up. Coming around that corner, he could see him. Like, yeah, okay, you see he's not going to pit because he didn't give you the hand. But even if he was going to pit and he didn't give you the hand, you're still coming up on him so fast. Like, I just can't believe he made no attempt to move out of the way whatsoever. And then, like you mentioned before we got going, Kevin irritating the shit out of you and irritating the shit out of me. Uh, Not our Kevin that joins us on the podcast, but our fella's brother Kevin. He's a very heavy Byron guy, so he's got his blinders on. But at no time to me, the very first thing I told Kevin was that was a failure on the spotter, plain and simple. So I want to know, what was Byron's spotter watching, because it wasn't his own car. He never said a word as he came barreling in there at high speed. Never said car slow low, car low, watch out, car, nothing. Never said a word, not even through the accident. He just
yep.
let him come in there Arca brake style and just completely annihilate him. So what'd you think?
I I gotta. I mean, I don't see why Todd Dillon would lie about his spotter telling him he told him. So
Yep.
why wasn't it relayed?
Yep.
You know, was there a breakdown communication? Maybe hand signals were not what you thought they were. Who knows?
Yeah.
But but you know, Kevin's thing is he should have waved. When he was slowing down, he was like a quarter mile ahead of Byron. Wasn't a
Right.
quarter mile, but he was. I mean, even if he had waved, you're not seeing that from that
Right.
distance behind.
Nope.
So what does it matter?
Byron came in there from 6 seconds back when Ty was down there. If you watch the film and click it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in no time did it look like Byron ever even considered moving up or touching the brakes. So I blame the spotters. I think this is a just bad spotter discussion altogether. Byron's spotter didn't say anything. If Ty's spotter relayed it to the roof, that relay obviously didn't happen. regardless of whether you put the hand signal or not. Steve Letarte even said during the race broadcast that Ty wasn't as high as some others that had pitted that day.
Yeah,
And
he
you come
was
off that,
nowhere near as hot as some other guys that I've seen.
and when you come out on when you're coming into the pits on that one and you're wrapping that bottom at such high speed, if you slow the video down, you can actually see the back of Ty's car step out loose. So he was coming into pit, and it looks like he over drove the entry to pit, and his car stepped out. That's when Byron came in and wiped into him. So uh, I I fault the 2014 more than I do the 10 team because I just feel like the spotter is ultimately the breakdown and the problem there. Uh, so yeah. So Denny gets number 60, puts him tied with Kevin Harvick, and locks him into Phoenix. For the first time, it will actually lock him into Phoenix as the first car in, as opposed to having to work his way there and just be exhausted by the time you get there. So he was second there in the spring. We've been having softer tires, and he's been good on the softer tires.
But
And
he was garbage at New Hampshire.
right, so that's what I was going to say. So I'm trying to figure out with them having the 2 weeks, where did he finish at Gateway and
He
Richmond?
won.
Okay, so
Or no, he
Gateway,
didn't win Gateway. Briscoe did, didn't he?
yes.
So he
So,
was second.
so let's see. Because I believe this is where this is what I'm wondering about. If I had anticipated an HMS car winning today, not a JGR car. I really expected Larson to win today. Uh, and he
And
just
he
came
should
up one
have.
spot short. So I'm glad everything worked out the way it worked out overall. But let's see here. Let's roll back. He didn't dig a hole. He's coming out of there. He didn't win the race, but he's not at a massive disadvantage, thankfully. So let's see here. So Iowa, short track. Byron won. Larson was just so that day. Not as good as he
I
could
was on
be.
a flat track though.
Yeah. Richmond, Larson was sixth. Blaney Logano third and fourth. New Hampshire, Larson seventh. So I mean, they're definitely and Byron third, Chase fifth. So they're definitely strong on the flat tracks. I had hoped if they'd won it, based on the progress we saw, that maybe this would be the year they catch Penske and have something for them. I'm not expecting either one of them to win Dega personally, based off their past experiences there. Neither one of them won there before, and Byron's he's got Daytona down pat, but Dega just doesn't seem to be his cup of tea. But Larson has had very sporadic, mostly bad luck at the plate tracks, so I'm holding my breath. If he comes out of there, I'm just hoping he has a good points day because right now it's JGR versus Gibbs primarily, and the Penske guys are out unless they have really good showing at Talladega. And it very easily could be like all JGR setup if we keep going, or mostly JGR anyway. Gateway, yeah, you're right. So no, Denny did win Gateway. So
Where the hell did Briscoe win?
second,
He won Darlington. That's what it was.
yep. So earlier, we talked about it last week. Toyota on Toyota violence has been high this playoffs. This time it was Bell versus Gibbs, just two guys going for the same spot at the same time. But so Denny locks himself in. They've
Well,
had
if you
pretty
really
good.
watch that video, Denny pushed Gibbs into that situation.
Did he? I'll have to go back
Yeah,
and look at it.
yeah.
I just
Watch Denny. Denny pushes Gibbs into Bowman to put him in a situation where you know
okay. So is there anything we didn't talk about with the race? Like I said, it was pretty much up until the
that's
last
pretty
part.
cut and dry. Pretty cut and dry race. There was it one of those same thing as Kansas. Once you filed out, there was no passing to be done.
Yeah.
First, if you didn't pass in the first 5 to 10 laps, you were staying where you were. I mean,
Yeah.
that's when Larson had the lead, there wasn't nobody could pass him. When he was in third, he couldn't pass who was in front. It just
Yeah, because like you were talking about earlier,
Reddick was the
Reddick.
only car that could pass anybody.
Well, Reddick up top on the high line, like Reddick made up all the spots to second, and then the clean air is king part became, the
Yeah.
next narrative because I expected Reddick to go up there and challenge, and he just couldn't go anywhere from that point. And so as long as Larson or Byron or whoever was up front could hold off those cars for the first 5 to 7 laps, they were pretty much set. They could get away, even though the gap never got beyond a couple seconds at most. Usually it stayed within a second to the second place car, but they just couldn't close that gap arrow wise. So I suppose that's, there's not really much else to talk about other than the points deficit. So leaving here, we know Denny's safe. Knowing everybody else's positions, and now we have the result. Who do you think gets above the cut line coming out of Dega? Byron's below by 15, Elliott's below by 23, Logano and Blaney are both below
I
by
don't think
24 and
there's
30.
any way any of them come out above the cut line unless they win. That's just 15 points with this group of drivers is, in my opinion, insurmountable. I could obviously be way wrong, but the stage ends will be the only way that you're probably gaining points on the people ahead of you. But it is Talladega, you never know. But I just don't think 15 points with who you're racing is going to be possible.
I mean, I don't disagree. Joey finished sixth
Then he lost ground.
and he lost ground because he got stage points, but not a bunch. He didn't.
Well, he lost ground because the five had, I think, so he won stage two. He came in third in stage one.
Yeah.
So you had,
Well,
you
yeah.
got,
Well, Larson and Denny both tied for 54 points on the day,
yeah.
compared to Joey at 34 points. And even though Byron, had that problem, he still scored 19 points. So Joey and Blaney, it's hard to make up any of that ground unless you do like Chase Briscoe did, who
Well,
went out there and
yeah,
was
not to mention Briscoe finished third, and he came in, what was it, four behind?
14. He was down.
Oh, was he? So
Yep. So he made up almost 30 points today between Blaney's accident, Byron's accident, stage point wins, and finishing third.
yeah.
Well, finishing fourth. He came in fourth. Bell finished third, it
Oh,
says.
okay. I didn't realize
I
Belt won.
thought I thought Briscoe finished third, but I guess Bell got him before the line. I didn't see that. But and when you look at the JGR trifecta, 1, 3, they started first. Denny started and finished first. Bell started third, finished third. Briscoe started second, finished fourth. Larson started sixth, finished second. Bowman started 12th. Now, Kyle Busch is my feel good story of the weekend. He
Yeah,
finally had
he
something
went a
go.
lap down early.
He was a lap down early, started 32nd, finished eighth. It's not a win for Kyle Busch, but that's a win for that team. We can finally stop the bleeding because they have had nothing but bad luck. And then RFK had all their cars right either inside the top 10 or just one hair outside the top 10. So that was good for them.
So if you're good with leaving the race weekend, what
Yep.
is your thoughts on the announcement that we're getting 750 horsepower or thereabouts on all tracks except for mile and a halfs and up?
Yep. So there's a couple news items this week. So we'll start with that one. So 750 and up for anything under a mile and a half. I think that's a good starting spot based off of what I think it should be more power first off, but the logic they explained, I can understand without ensuring a lot of cost
I
added.
don't agree with it because Doug Yates said a year ago that he could go to 900 right now.
Well, I think it depends on the engine manufacturer, though. Like I think what Doug Gates can do might be different than what Hendrick's engine department can do versus RCR's versus TRD. So the ECR folks said that the transaxle limit currently limits the amount of torque
Yeah, I
it's
heard that
rated
too.
for, and that 750 horsepower pretty much maxes out the amount of torque. So without having to buy new transaxles, they can still modify the engine as is and use the parts as is. I think it's gonna. I want to see what it does. I think at our smaller tracks, so where we've had, I would love to see it at the mile and a half, but the mile and a half haven't been bad racing. Bristol,
I
New
I
Hampshire.
disagree.
Okay, well, I mean
The
that's okay.
last few, like I told you earlier, like once the once the good wears off your tires, nobody's running the high line, and that only happens when you have horsepower. If you go back in time, before we went to this low horsepower crap,
Mhm.
there were more cars running the high line at tracks, but now it's very few and far between, and that's
Yeah,
lack of horsepower.
yeah. Today they tried to use that Darlington camera on the tails. And
God, I'm so sick of
I don't
that
know why,
stupid.
because only one car all day besides Reddick did it, and that was Hamlin when it came time to win.
Yeah,
So there's no real need for that camera. Um,
they're proud of it though.
yep, they love
They're
it.
so proud of that stupid camera. That's
But
like Fox being proud of the Gopher cam back in the day.
I'll take Digger. Hey, we'll bring back Digger anytime. I'll take that over that stupid spoiler camera any day. But I think the 750 is good. I'm with you. I think they probably could do more, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt for now that the parts cost it would take by engine manufacturer would be more than they want to spend right now to retrofit. Because again, like earlier in the year, we talked about what we could do to fix the cars. Well, if you shrink the wheels or to a smaller wheel, then you got to change the brakes, and that makes you change the
Yeah.
hub. That makes you change. So I can somewhat understand what they're saying as to why we're not gonna go beyond the
So
750.
did you listen? Was it Steve O'Donnell that was on?
Yep. So
So he said that, you know, looking at, and I don't know if this was a misstep or an accident, but he said with Dodge coming in and
and Honda.
possible others, maybe Honda, like he said with Dodge coming in, was
Yep.
that a slip up?
Well, I mean, when you point to Dodge coming in under Ram, I mean, then Dodge has already said, or Ram has already said, or Stellantis, which owns them, and Ferrari and the whole nine, like they're coming to Cup, but it's the charter piece that's new to them, so it's going to take a little longer. So the Dodge coming in wasn't so much the slip up, but I think the fact that he
But
specifically named Honda, not other manufacturers, but he named Honda specifically,
yeah, but
and
but
yeah,
with the horsepower thing, he said that there's different ways to go above 750, and we have to work with them
yep,
to make that happen. So we're talking about a totally new style engine that we're probably going to be having probably by, what would you guess, 2028
if Honda comes in,
at the earliest, 2028 probably.
it does sound like, and so Tyler Kliger, yeah, Tyler or not Tyler, Parker Kligerman and Randy Castle have talked about the Tyler Kligerman. They have talked about this because of IMSA, that in IMSA you have all these different car manufacturers. They don't all run the same power motor. What they do is they do torque limitation. They do torque limiters. You can bring 1,000 horsepower if you want, but you can only have so much torque. So then your job is to figure out how to translate that horsepower into the most effective torque. So
Okay.
it sounds like what they're
Who
talking
owns
about is
IMSA
where we're
again?
going. Hmm?
Who owns IMSA again? They can
Tyler
probably figure it
Kligerman,
out.
Parker and
No,
Landman.
who owns it?
Oh, who owns what? IMSA? Yeah, NASCAR.
Yeah. So they should already know how to do that.
Jimothy France. Well, it's more about the engine manufacturers themselves. Chevy,
Okay.
Dodge, Honda. Like Honda's not in IMSA. I don't know if Dodge still is or not. They were at one point in time with the Viper back in the day. You've got Chevy, you've got Toyota.
I don't believe they're in there.
So that that at least I think it'll be interesting because this week the money lap they'll probably talk about that based off of what he said. Um, the other part, so okay, you brought up Steve O being on of the Steves. I prefer O'Donnell over Phelps. I can't fucking stand
Oh
Phelps.
yeah.
Um, and we talked about it when we were first reading the tweets and the emails for the lawsuit that O'Donnell seemed like the only person who was on behalf of the teams during these negotiations within NASCAR. So that conversation with Dale Jr., I thought it was very interesting to listen to. You have the president of NASCAR or the commission, yeah, because Phelps is now the commissioner. So you got the president of NASCAR sitting there. So he's third in line telling you about the lawsuit. One of the key things they mentioned there, because there's a bullet here about the lawsuit, that they've been ordered to, they're going to have mediation. It's not just going to be the mediator and NASCAR and the teams. It's also going to include the judge. So I think this time they're not going to be able to just come in and walk away kind of like they did in the earlier one this year. They're actually going to be forced to have a conversation. And the judge really reinforced kind of what he said before. If you put this in my hands, you should not assume you're going to win. So it does sound, NASCAR has said they're open to a settlement. I don't really know what the hell a settlement would be that
Well,
NASCAR, because they've
here's
said
here's the
before, like,
problem.
yeah, go ahead.
On the O'Donnell deal there, Junior asked him, what do you think that you all could bring to the table to end this? And he said, I have no clue.
Yeah.
That's bad that we've been almost a year of this and he has zero clue what they're looking for.
Yep.
Did you hear that and go, what? That's why I
Yeah.
tried to call you the other day. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. That he said, he doesn't really know what they're looking for. One of the other bullets he said, and again, each side is trying to paint their case. So he's using this. I'm sure NASCAR sent him there specifically. It was under the guise of the 750 horsepower talk, but NASCAR has been losing the PR game in this lawsuit the entire time. Well, they sent a guy to the largest, most widely distributed NASCAR media piece component out there besides the race that there is, period. And Dale Jr. gave him a forum to, say his piece. But one of the things that I found interesting was when O'Donnell said that they were being sued for stuff that didn't have anything to do with the charter when they're for some of the internal talks. Well, I'd really like to know what that is because I thought we had understood
no,
kind of what
what
the
he
pain.
said was he said there's stuff that is being brought up that was not in the lawsuit. Like when you sue
Oh,
somebody,
yeah, yeah,
you say this is what I'm suing for.
yeah,
There's stuff being brought up that has nothing to do
right.
with what's in the wording.
Yep. So you're saying it's an antitrust case, and your suit to the point of what we talked about early in the year about the lawsuit. I'm sure they're talking about name and likeness rights. Again, Michael Jordan, NASCAR, gambling, money, what monies NASCAR's taking in versus the teams. O'Donnell did say that all the increased TV money went to the teams. I have a hard time believing that.
I have a hard time. That's why they're trying to mediate because they don't want the books to be opened up to see how
Yep.
much money NASCAR is getting
Yep.
for real.
Now, the one thing I will say that I found, like there was completely new information that I thought was very interesting, was the information Junior brought up and shared about the tracks. That under the current legislation, the tracks don't get treated like a multi-use venue, like a football stadium is or a baseball stadium. So it limits the grants and the taxes and things like that and how they can do improvements. I don't give them a pass for not improving the tracks because you and I have harped on
I
Darlington,
think it's
Oklahoma, and other
horseshit.
places. Yeah, but uh, I thought it was interesting that because of the law and the legislation, they're limited in how they can use the facilities and make adjustments to them.
It's pretty simple. You get money from the TV contract.
Mhm.
You don't need government grants to fix a track that you own and you're getting money from Fox and Prime and everybody else to upkeep your fucking track.
But we're poor.
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
stupid.
Look, I'm not actually in favor, or do I believe any more than you do about the tracks. I think they're full of shit because again, they own. It's not like they're making payments on these tracks. They own every single one of them, and they've owned
Yeah,
them for a long time.
and like I bring up this is probably a million time bringing up. Darlington has been a track since 1950,
Mhm.
and it's so that's obviously paid for. You're telling me that you can't update the bathrooms? You can't update the seating in 75 years. You can't update that.
Well, let's look at your home track, Kentucky Speedway. They took money from the taxpayers of Kentucky, you,
Hmm.
built a racetrack in hopes of getting a cup date, they got a nationwide date out there for a
Have
few
to
years.
sell it to get the cup date.
Yep, had to sell it to get the cup date to SMI, who then took their date and gave it away from a really good, well-maintained facility. Had parking issues at the beginning, but otherwise good facility. So we could go race in the gun-riddled, violent streets of Chicago. Took Chicago's date, gave that to, pick whatever. We've taken a Texas date, gone to Dakota. We've taken away
Well, they
Pocono
took the
dates.
Kentucky date and gave it back to Atlanta.
Yep,
They
that's
gave
right.
the Chicagoland date to Chicago streets
Yep,
because nobody there has ever heard of NASCAR
allegedly.
somehow, allegedly.
But yeah, I'm with you. I'm flying the bullshit flag on the logic for not upgrading the tracks. I don't think the law has, because we can go back and look at North Wilkesboro. North Wilkesboro was dead and in the ground. Dale Jr.
Hmm.
campaigned for it. Marcus would say, I hear you. We're working on it. We get a late model race event. Why did he get a cup event and asphalt? Because of COVID money given to revitalize the communities. Marcus said, I'll take your free money and I'll put it into the track. He didn't put his own fucking money. He took,
Right.
again, the taxpayers' money, government money, and put it into the track. So uh, I thought it was interesting what they said, but I'm with you on flying the bullshit flag.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about. So earlier this week, a big point of discussion was race manipulation. What amounts to race manipulation? Last week with the cutoff race, that move by Ross Chastain to get in, and NASCAR saying, well, if he had made it, we would have had to have a discussion of whether or not they're going to make a call. I don't understand why whether it works or not, they thought they would need to make a call. It should be irrelevant. Crime's a crime. He went in there, no intention to making that corner, needing to take out the competitor to make the spot. Deliberately did it. It didn't work out. Just because you didn't execute the crime doesn't mean you don't go to jail. You still committed the
And
crime.
technically it was a right hook.
Right. Yeah, and technically it's right. So he should have been suspended. But and because of the speeds, Denny's slowing down to come to the chicane. Ross never hit the fucking brakes. Just plowed right through it.
That
So
was a 0.1% chance of that working.
then you back up, you've got the 48 not passing. You've got Joey bitching about the 34 passing. Yeah. You've got all these other people, and you've got teams being told you can't discuss the points on the radio. And
Meanwhile, you have the 41's spotter saying, "Save your tires in case we
yeah,
get a
yeah,
late
that's
race
just it.
restart."
Save your tires.
Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh. So that you could run last.
So
Um,
that you can run right behind the 22 for 7 straight laps when it's obvious you're faster.
so to me, and they try to claim like, oh, we'll know it when we see it. I'll know it if you give me access to the data, I can show you who's doing it in real time
That's twice the 41 has been involved at the Roval
in race
for,
manipulation.
for
Yep.
race manipulation, and nothing's happened.
And the thing I have a couple problems with it, obviously. One is it either is or it isn't. Like we need to really make it black and white. But if you're gonna police it, I don't want to hear, well, we don't know how, or we don't have enough people, or whatever. You're able to police pit road with cameras and everything else and timing lines and the amount of data we have coming off of these cars and the SMT or the analytics. You can see when somebody deliberately slows down off their pace all day long and then look at whether or not they have any relevant damage or if it's coming up for a pit. Like you could pinpoint these things and set it up. So I just thought the whole industry is trying to make excuses on why you just can't possibly police it. And I feel like they're caught with they want to have their cake and eat it too. We want to
Mhm.
still have the feeling like we're the old school badass system. And you know, the outlaws and the whole nine. And that's how the sport was made. But we're not there anymore. And you can't be there anymore when you have gambling and all this money involved and all these sponsors and like that's just an unfortunate reality of it. And I wish they would just officiate correctly instead of being like, well, we need to see how egregious it is. And it's just ridiculous because then it becomes subjective, like to the point of, oh, well, if it was Chase, because let's rewind to Bristol of 2020 or 2019. Harvick and Chase are going at it, or 21. I mean, Harvick and Chase are going at it. Chase cuts a tire with the old car, comes back out, deliberately, explicitly,
Says it on the radio.
deliberately.
Where's the five? I gotta help him out.
Yep, he gets up there and holds up the four until the five passes him. And that's not race manipulation. That's deliberate race. It took him out of the playoffs. Took the 21 car the four car out of the playoffs. And not that it mattered because Larson was the best car that year anyway by like a large margin. But like, if you want a perfect case for race manipulation, NASCAR not doing shit about it, there's one right there. So, um, Zilich is still handily ahead, 83 points on his way to the to his championship. I'm secretly rooting for him not to win because I
No,
want it to blow up in their face.
no, don't do that to that kid.
I just look, we know he's the best. They might as well give him the
If he
championship.
doesn't win, it'll ruin your beginning of the year prediction.
What did I say? I don't remember anymore. I have to go
You
back.
said he'd win a lot and he'd win the championship, and he's won a lot. If he doesn't win the championship, you are wrong.
Well, I guess I have to go back and say I want him to win. Damn it. I just really, really want this to like shit NASCAR's cake really bad. Just pee in
The
their
one,
chair.
the one that will be even worse than that is if the Heim doesn't win because he has
I
less
agree.
races and he has 10 wins.
Yep. Less races, 10 wins. They should be, if we had yeah, I fully expect those two to win. But if by some reason they don't, man, it's gonna
Well,
be
you got to
bad.
remember if the sevens involved, Phoenix is his playground,
Yeah.
so it could very well be him. I mean, what's
And
he
well, I
got?
mean, him and
2 wins,
Zilich are handily above the line right now, uh, on the Xfinity side of the house. So if we go to,
and apparently, so Justin Bonsignor was supposed to drive the 19 at Phoenix, but because Almirola won that race Saturday night,
yep.
he has already said that he's going to run the car at Phoenix to go for an owner's title.
Okay.
So what happened with that? The sponsor that was going to sponsor the car backed out because it's not Bonsignor.
That sucks. That sucks for him.
Sucks for who?
For Bonsignor.
It, yeah, but
It, it sucks for
he
him
wasn't
too.
going to run the race anyway. So now Joe Gibbs is without a sponsor, which I'm sure they'll
Yeah.
get one. But
Yeah.
the sponsor backed out because, like, no, we are going to sponsor Bonsignor, not Almirola.
Right. I mean, it sucks for both of them. You're losing the sponsorship, and the guy who was really scheduled to run the race ain't going to run it. So it sucks on both sides.
Yeah.
So now we skipped over it last week, but was it not sweet irony that Austin Hill misses by 21 points in the 21 car, having lost his 21 playoff points because he was a dumbass at
Now,
Indianapolis?
my question is, if he tied whoever, I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I haven't been able to follow it because of my CW issue.
Yeah,
But who would he have tied, and would he have had the tiebreaker?
good question. I don't know the
Because
answer
if
to that one.
not, then it doesn't really matter if he did lose 21 points or not.
No, I just think it's hilarious in that,
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the inside of that meeting was this Monday, seeing how your behavior, for the first time we ever, NASCAR instituted this penalty, then they had to live by their penalty. And we see a result where it actually had weight. It wasn't like we made the playoffs and it didn't matter. And
Well,
now,
maybe Austin will go to anger management this winter to help him not have that happen again.
Perhaps, but not
I
like,
personally don't see how he has any sponsors with the way he acts
yeah.
on the track.
So I think that's everything. I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. You got anything?
Um, no, I don't think so. I just want to say that I did enjoy the O'Donnell discussion.
Hmm.
I wonder why they had the limit to an hour. Like, surely somebody that, you know, that big a deal, you could have asked a couple more questions. Um, you know,
Yeah, I too enjoyed it. I was wondering why it was so short compared to all of Dale's other stuff. Um, the other thing
but
we talked about all week, not you, just you and I, but like the media has been talking about, especially with Joe Logano being like, "We made it through again. See, this is why the playoffs are awesome." I don't think that last week's race was anything that anybody should celebrate. We weren't following Shane Van Gisbergen very much. I mean, he was out there dominating. And other than the handful of challenges that he got from Larson and Bell, the entire focus, what the entire time was who of the mediocre was going to advance that has more than likely no chance of winning the championship. And that's what we're focused on. That was our storyline. It wasn't which one of these great, awesome drivers is going to make it to the next level. It was which one of these so teams that has one win or no wins this year is going to scrape their way in by a point. Not through excellent driving all day, not by winning their way in, but by finishing. Oh, this one's running back here in the 20s. This one's running 14th. Like
yeah,
if there wasn't a cutoff race, would we have even talked about them that day? And the answer is
not one
no.
bit.
So how is that a good way to represent our sport? That's my problem with the
It's
playoffs.
the only time they look at the middle of the pack on TV is
Yep.
during the playoffs.
And
Um,
it just brings me back to that conversation with Pemberton, part one and two, that he did with Dale Jr., where he said we've shifted the sport towards rewarding mediocrity. That's what it was. It was mediocre.
yep.
So
As much as our buddy Chip loves to see what SVG is doing and thinks for some reason he needs to be in the Hall of Fame, um, the problem is if you don't do anything on ovals, it is mediocrity. Juan Pablo Montoya is one of the best race car drivers in the world, but he was mediocre in NASCAR. There's no other way to put it because all he did was win two road course races.
yep, and cough up several Indy 400s.
Yes. Yes.
Unfortunately,
The last thing I have is we haven't got to talk about it offline, but I'm going to talk to you about it online real quick. NASCAR 25, the game.
yep. So
We
you've
played a
got it.
little
Let's hear
bit.
about
Um, the graphics are great. Not really a fan of what happens when you win a race. Nothing. Great win, guy. Great run out there. No
it.
burnout, no celebration,
You don't get to
no
celebrate or nothing.
cutscene. No.
That's a disappointing. Is there a paint
Yeah.
booth and like, can you make your own car?
There is a paint booth. There's probably 30 something different like designs to choose from, and you can change the colors of everything in the car. You can't from now I haven't dove real deep, but from what I can tell, you cannot make your own logos on the game. There's quite a few logos to choose from, like Liquid Death to start with, Lionel Racing and stuff like that. There's a bunch of sponsors to put on the car, but the main gripe with the paint booth and design your own car that I have is the number choices are like hit and miss. It's not start at 0 and go up to 99. It's like I'm just going to throw out some numbers. It goes like 5, 10, 13, 20. Like
Huh.
you have car numbers like per series that aren't being used,
Okay.
and that's it. So like me, I want to use a 28. Can't do it. There's no 28 in ARCA because 28's already being used in ARCA. You can't put it on your car.
Okay.
The funny part is though, in some of the series, like the truck series, for instance, Kyle Larson is in the '07 truck, and so is somebody else.
Yep.
So they allow it there, but you can't like it. I know it's kind of like a nitpicky thing, but it's like you
Well,
can't
no,
put
I
every
mean,
fucking number on there.
well, I'm just so, and the reason why I'm asking these kind of questions is the last time this company made a game for non-sim was back when it was PC and it was NASCAR Racing '03 was the last time.
Yeah, that
And
wasn't a sim though.
well, it was sim like. You could really heavily tune the setups. They had a paint booth, but you could completely make your own paint scheme, import it, number, whatever. You could assign it the number and everything. So when you would import, you would put it in the game. You would tell it the number. You could have overlapping numbers. You could have whatever sponsors you wanted. You could set up your pit crew box to look whatever you wanted, your racer's helmet, everything. You could decide how strong your equipment was, and then over time, the averages would catch up. And from what I've read, like you said, the graphics look good from what I've seen.
Yeah,
My issues are they've forgotten who they were. Like I had high
yeah.
hopes, and I'm hoping that the second round is going to be better than the first round. I'm still willing to
The,
try it,
the
but
so I haven't made a green flag stop yet, but as far as pitting under caution, it like you there's no way to change your tire pressures. There's no way to change your like wedge. Like so whatever you have going into the race is what you fucking have.
does the does the track environment change throughout the race? Like, does it get hotter, colder, windier?
Not from what I can tell.
Okay.
Of
I just feel like
course
they spent a
I'm
year.
doing 13% race right now on ARCA. I'm doing a career.
Mhm.
So but like there's no it's crazy how much like it gives you a chance to fix your car, look how much fuel, four tires, two tires, or none. That's all.
Okay.
And it's like you're not gonna let me fix my wedge. Like you're
You
in the
can't
race
adjust the
now, and
you can't adjust the balance of the car at all.
yeah. So I don't know if you pit under green if there is options like that. Like I don't know. But and maybe I have a setting turned off that I'm not aware of. But as far as the driving part of the game, I really enjoy it. Rockingham is my favorite so far. It's
Yep,
not
very
smooth.
bumpy.
There is bumps and the turns, and it is fun to drive. Uh,
Okay.
I've already you know I've not raced every track yet, nowhere close, but uh, I enjoy Bristol, Rockingham. North Wilkesboro is very difficult. It's not, you cannot charge corners. You have got to be real, you know, I was basically going into one, I'm backing off when I get to the choose cone. So I mean, as far as driving in a simulator type deal, it's not bad so far. I've not put a lot of hours into it.
How
Um,
is it on setups, like in terms of like before you go into the
it's,
weekend? How
it's
detailed is it?
just, it's just like Heat 5, in my opinion.
Okay.
You got the same like it. Did you play Heat 5?
Yeah.
So you remember the clicks? It says
Mhm.
like 7 clicks, 5 clicks. It's the same thing.
Okay.
It's the same type of setup that Heat 5 had.
Okay.
Um, Maybe actually a smidge less than what Heat 5 had. Uh, but a gripe that I have is the spot. You have two spotters you can choose from: TJ Majors or something Williams. I can't think of his name.
Josh Williams.
Josh Williams. They're both just car high, car low, you're clear, just monotone, like no excitement at all. And if you win a race or come in second or whatever, or get the pole, they come on the radio. Great run today. Like you couldn't put a little excitement into it.
Yeah.
Like they both sound almost exactly the same.
Do you remember Thunder '04 when like you'd have Alan Bestwick and those guys and like it would start and they're like panning down the grid and they're talking about the different rivalries and stuff? Like that's the kind of game I want back.
That,
Where it felt like you were in a live, real season, and your decisions like played out each week.
so when you're leaving the garage, you know, you hit start and the car starts up and the guy waves you out and it kind of goes through that motion. But it also does that at the start of the race. Say you qualified 10th. The problem, it's a small problem. It's not really a problem. It's just kind of something I pay attention to small details.
Yeah.
If you qualify 10th, you should be behind nine other cars when you start your car on pit road. Well, on their cutscene, you're starting at the front every single time, no matter where you qualify. From you start your car and you see the beginning of pit road and nobody's in front of you, and you see your mirror, there's people behind you. But then, of course, the car is rolling on the track, and you're ninth or wherever you qualified, and people are in front of you. So that was, I mean, that's kind of like a bad
So when you start the game
detail.
and you start a race and they're lined up on pit road, you're not actually in your gridded position where you would start if you wherever you qualify.
Not from the inside the car. When you start the car, it tells you to start the car.
Mhm.
You start it, and there's nobody in front of you. No matter if you
Oh,
qualified last or eighth, you are in the front. And then
yeah.
the screen changes and you're in your spot. And the way you have to earn your first ARCA start is a you get put into an ARCA car at Rockingham and you're starting last. You get, what is it? 10, I want to say you get 10 laps. I guess it's on a lower setting, but like basically the chore is you have to go from 40th to a top 10 in 10 laps or 7 laps or something like that to be able to get an ARCA ride.
And then what I've heard is you can't, like, you could never be drafted to come drive for Penske, and you can't draft their drivers away from them. So it's not like total team control, where
Right.
you could actually go drive for Hendrick,
So
displace a driver,
on
upgrade their team, you know.
on my first and only try, I got the 10th spot, so I got the ride, so I didn't try anything else. But you start last and you have to make it up to 10th before the end of the race.
I just remember like in total team control when it was Electronic Arts, you could finish like fifth in the season with some lower tier team because you invested in them. And the next year you'd have offers from like Wood Brothers and Roush and whatever. And then you could be like, yeah, I'm gonna take that car. You take over the 21 or you take over the 18. And that driver has to go somewhere else, or they're not in the game anymore right now while you're running the
Yeah.
season. But then you can upgrade them and get a better ride. And so, like, I was hoping we'd have some of that stuff, just because we've had
It
so
doesn't
much so
appear
far.
with career mode that your career mode is all building a team around you.
Okay.
Um, it's you're trying to get sponsors and so on and so forth. So that's what I've been focusing on as a career mode. I'm not
Okay.
really went outside of it too much, but happy to say that SVG's Red Bull car is in the game, so that was fun to use for a minute. So, but so far I enjoy the game. It's not as sim-like as I would like it, but it's not too far off. It's just when it comes to small details, they're lacking.
I'm only disappointed because of the company that made it. If it was some other no-name company, I probably wouldn't have as much high hopes. I think my issue with that is that this is the same people that make the sim that NASCAR legitimately uses. So I have a higher expectation on capability. But have you, what tracks are in it? Did they have all the tracks? Like every single track we race? We're not missing anything.
I don't think Cup is missing any to my knowledge. I didn't really dive into it. I do know that, like, for instance, Lime Rock is on there for trucks and ARCA. You cannot race a Cup car at Lime Rock.
Well, that kind of sucks.
Like in
Because if you like
Heat
a track,
5,
yeah.
in Heat 5, you could go anywhere that was on the game. Well, you can't do that with this game. You can
Okay.
only go to places that are on the schedule.
Okay. Well, thanks for the feedback. I'll definitely give it a try here in the future when I have some free time.
So a year from now,
No, probably around Christmas. I'll have to, by then I'll really know if it's good or not. Because you'll have told me I'm running this and I'm, here at Bristol or wherever, and you'll either be
I
complaining
I
or
did
you'll have
I
to
did start cheating just a little bit with the Arc, and so I lowered the other the other drivers down a little bit because to kind of accelerate the uh the upgrades and stuff.
Okay.
But now that I got those upgrades, I can bring it back up, and I feel competitive. But they start you out with this car that's total crap, and you have to be okay with finishing 31st and stuff, and it's just that's not fun. Your car is total crap. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do this setup to make it faster because it's a level one shit show.
Okay.
And I get that's where a lot of people start, but like it's not fun.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
And
I would hope there were ways to elevate it. I was wondering because like in the EA days and then in their prior game, their last game, NASCAR Racing '03, before they went to what they have now with iRacing, you had what was called adaptive um
AI,
well, you had adaptive difficulty before we had AI. So and the cars pretty much raced with you. So if you were really good, then they were really good. And if you were really bad, then they kind of slowed down. So there was always an enjoyment aspect to it. So, but all right. Well, I ain't got nothing else, so I'm
yeah,
gonna
I don't either. But yeah, I'll keep you. I'll get you more updated on the game here soon.
okay.
Maybe we can get on the PS5 and like you can where you can. Isn't
Co-op.
there an option where you can let somebody else play?
I thought there's supposed to be multiplayer with it, I understand.
No,
So,
like where you can like if somebody doesn't have the game, you can kind of
oh,
at
I know
least
what
let
you're
them
saying.
watch. I can't remember what it's called.
I'll have to look. Yeah, we can look into that.
Yep, but good show.
Yep. We'll chat next week. Hopefully,
We need a non-playoff driver to win Talladega. That'll make Martinsville a lot more fun.
I agree. Then it's going to be there's 3 spots left. Who gets there?
Yep.
So, all right. Have a good week, buddy.
All right, buddy.
See you.
Enjoy Utah.
I'm going back out there where it's nice and cool. So, later.